Today I'd like to talk about, perfect love. I was walking the other day at work outside, and as I was walking, I had this thought, for various reasons. Someone that I knew for a long time, that I used to sing with and play worship with, and he was on the worship team, and one of the, his family, they were worship leaders in the church that I used to go to up in Oroville. And we're talking 20 years ago, actually more than that, 25 years ago even, and I guess a couple of years after that, maybe 2002 or 2001, I started singing with them and playing and stuff like that, playing music. We even wrote some songs, wrote at least one song together, and it saddened me, but he passed away, and he's only about a year older than I am. And I don't know why, but this verse came to my mind, and it was about love, perfect love. And we know, those of us who, if you've been around the church for any length of time, and maybe you haven't, maybe you're seeing this and listening to this and you haven't been in church before, or you're a new believer and you haven't come across this, but it's a very popularized saying, sometimes I think taken out of context a little bit, but about perfect love. And as I was walking, this thought came to my mind, is how do we show perfect love when we're imperfect human beings? How is that possible? And the truth is, we can't. The love that we can give, doesn't matter who that love we're giving to is, who that person is, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your family, anyone. If it's love that you're giving out and it comes from you, an imperfect, sinning person born of sin or born from sin and in sin, from this imperfect body, from a worldly mindset, any of those, what the world would tell you love is, it's not perfect love. It can't be, because only God can give perfect love, and the only way that we can, it actually doesn't come from us. We're simply vessels of it. 1 John 4:18 says, perfect love casts out all fear, and that we're afraid because if we have fear, it's because we fear judgment. But if we truly knew God's love, we wouldn't fear his judgment, because if you knew perfect love, you would know that his judgment is love. His judgment now is the best form of love for you. It's a judgment of correction. It's something we should embrace and realize that is a part of God's love. Judgment is judgment now, because that means judgment now far better than judgment later, when it's too late. But also, getting back to it, 2 Corinthians 4:17, chapter 4, verse 7, says that we are clay jars. We are vessels, imperfect, earthly, fragile vessels. But that is the proof of God's Spirit. It's the proof that it comes from him. That's how that perfect love is proven, because it's so perfect that the world would recognize it as not being from us. We're simply vessels. But in order to be vessels of that perfect love, which means it comes from Him, from the Holy Spirit living in us, which you can't have. You can't have a dirty jar. You know, that you've got to be living holy. You've got to be living and seeking after God. You've got to get close to Him in order to be used by Him. If you're asking yourself, why am I not being used? Why is God's perfect love not evident in my life? Why is it not touching people's lives the way that I envisioned or thought that it would? And that is simply put, that the closer you get to Him, the less of your nature, your idea, that perfect love that you think you're giving out is just your human version of it. And that's why it's you doing it and not Him. But if you make yourself a home, a vessel, a clean one for the light of the Holy Spirit, which comes directly from God, then it will be poured out on others. It will be poured out on others just that way, because it will be coming from a vessel that seeks after God's own heart, that desires the things of heaven and desires to reach others and to show His perfect love. And so you're a conduit. You carry it, you pour it out. It didn't come from you, so you can't be prideful because it wasn't your doing it. Again, it's not possible. It's not possible for you to give out perfect love because it only comes from God. All you can do is be a vessel for it and pass it on, pass it to others. We are imperfect and we are fragile, but when we get close to Him, amazing things happen. And that's my desire right now, more than anything else. And I'm saying this as much for me, for the future, maybe to watch these videos myself, to look back on this. Maybe I'm talking to myself in the future, to look back at this video right now, or in the future, and look at this and say, you know what, perfect love comes from God, and it's not any of our doing, and I wouldn't want it to be, because if it comes from me, then it doesn't change things. And God's all about changing things. Jesus changes things, and He can do it in an instant. He really does it. It does it, and see, that's the proof, because the proof that it is God is that it happens, and it has happened, and it continues to happen, and be seen and evident in regular people. And I'm no one special, but God can use me. He can use you. And you're not anybody special either. None of us are. He used fishermen. He used unlearned people. And people were amazed by it because they saw it. And that's evidence that He used fragile, imperfect sinners. And He does that. He knows what He's doing. God knows what He's doing. That's the proof. That's the proof of His power. That's the proof of His love for the whole world on a daily basis. I guess I should probably stop there. But I just want to thank you if you're checking out these videos. Sorry it's been a while since I've done one. But if you're watching these and if they're ministering to you, I don't need to know about it, but if you want, to say hey or anything, if this has blessed you,